Colonel, you've openly talked about the U.S. being financially exhausted. Right now, $38 trillion in debt and rising global commitments. What typically happens when an empire expands while its balance sheet collapses?
Well, eventually, catastrophe. But in the short run, and we're still not yet in the long run, we're getting there, but we're not there yet. I think we have to understand that our problems really began with the Vietnam War. A lot of people don't understand that Lyndon Johnson actually bankrupted the country. The cost of the Vietnam War, along with his social programs, but primarily the war, essentially bankrupted the country. And so on 15 August 1971, Richard Nixon discarded the gold standard. Now, some people say, well, why? Well, you discarded it because you couldn't pay for anything. We have to remember that historically, if you wanted to do something, if Washington wanted to spend, they had to tax the American people. There was a limit. But after 1971 and the abandonment of the gold standard, there was no limit. You needed money, you simply printed it. And as a result, over a long period of time, they printed away our savings, our income, everything, our heritage, our standard of living. They didn't print wealth. What they printed for themselves was power. So the printing press for dollars is essentially the mother of unending war. For $2 trillion in Afghanistan, over 20 years and 4 presidents, we replaced the Taliban with the Taliban, and there's no accountability. Why?
Yeah.
Well, it didn't matter to the average American. If the government had to tax us directly to bomb countries that most of us can't even find on a map, then there would be a revolution, a rebellion. But because they could print, war was invisible. The printing press also is the foundation for endless bureaucracy. When money is infinite, you can hire armies of bureaucrats. You can take 70,000 pages of federal code and turn them into 200,000. The printing press is also the source of uncontrolled immigration. They tell you it's about compassion. It isn't. It is a wage suppression operation. Why pay an American a living wage when you can import a replacement from some other place in the world, Latin America, Africa, the Middle East, the Indian subcontinent, for half the price? So what's the result? Millions of people fled into the United States, not necessarily people we really need or necessarily want, certainly not necessarily people that are remotely interested in becoming Americans or even can be. But we drive down the cost of American labor while Washington prints money to drive up the price of their assets. So we don't have a border crisis. What we have is an economic weapon that's deployed against us. And printing money without constraint is also the mother of endless outsourcing. Fake money allows them to ship factories overseas. Behind those closed doors lie rusted towns, broken families, an opioid epidemic that kills more than 300,000 people a year, a lot more than died in Vietnam. So I think we're heading into the currency debasement problem now. And of course, this then elevates something like Bitcoin to considerable importance because we clearly cannot go back to a pure gold standard. It would be nice, but I don't think there's enough gold left in the United States, maybe not even in the world, to do it. I mean, you stop and think that in the last 22 months, we've printed 30% of all the dollars that have ever existed. Now, that's an enormous quantity of dollars. And the president smiles and says, oh, everything's just fine. Everything's getting better. All the presidents have done that. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or Republican. And they say, well, this is capitalism. This is a free market. No, it's not. Capitalism requires competition, periodic failure, or creative destruction. So in this current environment, given the ability to sort of inject liquidity, whatever you like, or quantitative easing, call it what you will, when big business fails, Washington prints money to bail it out. Now, that assumes that if you're in big business, you have the right friends in Washington. And if you aren't big business and you don't have friends in Washington, you're foreclosed. So I think that's a good way to look at the problem that we have right now. And there's no easy way out. And nobody wants to default because that could have profound consequences. So what do? We continue to print, and we have a very elaborate game involving balance sheets and bonds and T-bills, and now the stable coin business is another scam in my judgment. It's not Bitcoin. And why would anybody want to invest in stable coin if each coin is worth $1? Well, forget it. Let's all buy Bitcoin. Forget stable coin, right?
Right.
Anyway, I think those things are coming together.
Yeah.
These forces are converging. Now, the other part of this is, in addition to running out of wealth, which is effectively where we don't produce anything. What do we manufacture? We manufacture some military equipment, but much beyond it, no. Our manufacturing base was driven out of the country. So we're trying to restart that, but that's not something you snap your fingers and change. It's going to take a long time. What have we done in the energy industry? What have we done for agriculture? Those two things used to be pillars in the high church of productivity and wealth in the United States. We're not getting nearly out of energy or out of the agrarian sector, in my judgment, what we need. There needs to be a focus on that. Just look at mining. We talk about mineral wealth, and we're worried about rare earths. Now we found some rare earth deposits up in Alaska, but I've got news for you. There's rare earth all over Canada. There's rare earth in the United States. But we haven't bothered to do anything with it. Why? Well, it wasn't financially rewarding. It was cheaper, faster, better to go somewhere else. And the worst part is we don't even have a refinery for the stuff. So where do we send our rare earths to be refined? Time's up. China. So it goes to China or, Kazakhstan. I don't know if Mongolia has an operating refinery right now, but we haven't built one. We need to build one. It's crazy. And we have friends that are sitting on enormous rare earth deposits that nobody ever bothers to mention. Norway has perhaps the largest rare earth department in all of Europe. So I think we've just got problems in Washington because there is no long-term national strategy to deal with anything. There's no long-term national strategy for military purposes, none for scientific industrial development, none for mineral wealth and extraction, none for agriculture, none for energy. Everything is ad hoc, last minute, short term. And that's not surprising because every 4 years, what do we do in Washington? Every 4 or 8, it depends on how long the president lasts. Well, we lobotomize the government. We say, oh, well, everything they did was wrong. Now we're going to do all of these things. Well, it doesn't really change the country. The country remains the same thing, but there is no framework for development, no framework for improvement. So I think at this point, I think we're on the road to what Nassim Taleb calls perhaps the mother of all black swans.
Well, that's a really good frame, and it all kind of starts with your case for sound money, which I thought was really well put. The interesting historical fact is that the first central bank that was created was the Bank of England in the late 1600s. That was created specifically so they'd have more money to continue to fight wars.
Right.
So it was started so they could print money so they could just keep these never-ending wars going. And that's what we've seen. And you mentioned, spending $2 trillion in Afghanistan. So while the U.S. government certainly has the power of the money printer and can continue to print essentially at this point endless amounts of money to fight these wars. Hey, if you like this short conversation I just had, you're gonna love the full-length conversation. Don't miss it. You can go ahead and click right over here, and I'll see you over there.